FBI Radio 94.5, Fairtrade Narcotics right there with Pivot, a single that dropped a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago, and it's my very big privilege to be joined by Fairtrade Narcotics right now here on the station. They are a psych jazz-infused group. They blend pop sounds, a lot of naughty sounds in there too, with this really crisp production, incredible brass section, and amazing vocals to cap it off as well. And I mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm very excited to be premiering a brand new track today. I'll get into that in just a second, but lucky to be joined by Brooke and George from Fairtrade Narcotics right now, live on the station. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on, John.
G'day.
No problem. Now, very, very excited to get into this premiere, but before we do, for those of us perhaps who haven't come across Fairtrade Narcotics before, or haven't heard your music, how did the group come together and what inspired the sound?
Well, the group had been running, so it's a project that I've been running for a number of years in the underground circuit, and on my 25th birthday, maybe 2.5 years ago, I asked George to join up as part of the band, and that was going so well. Wow, it was like we had a breakthrough moment. Our songwriting and our ways of playing really just synchronized, I guess. And then 6 months later, we brought on a longtime friend of George's, who's now my best friend as well, 𝓗𝓮𝓵𝓵, drummer. So been with us now for a number of years. Dermot is probably my right-hand man, the trombone player. We've played together in other ensembles, like, you know, funk bands around the circuit. So Dermot's been with me for maybe like 4 years or so. And about 10 months ago, we brought on our new bass player, 𝓗𝓮𝓵, who is incredible, like absolute weapon on the fretboard. Very fortunate to have Will along for the ride. So yeah, that's about how long everyone's been involved in the project, but it feels larger than life, and it feels like we've known everyone for a lot longer sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, where did that sort of... It's a very distinctive sound that Fairtrade Narcotics has. It's sort of, like I was saying earlier, this like jazz. I love the jazz elements you bring in, but also a lot of sort of indie rock elements too, psych elements as well. How did the group go about like sort of creating that sound and locking into that groove that you have so strongly?
It's kind of come from a collection of different influences between us, I think. Like me and 𝓗𝓮𝓵, especially in the production side of things, a lot of our inspirations were like psych bands and a lot of psych rock, psych pop kind of stuff. And I've always leaned into that with recording music, especially in this project. There's like so much freedom for it. But then, you know, Wilson is right into like really jazzy kind of soft stuff. You guys come from, like you said, a bit of a funk and soul horns
kind
background.
Like, yeah, funk and soul for horns, but like any of my songwriting for guitar, well, there you go, there's a good thing. I'd say that I've got more roots in like indie rock and pop songwriting, like on guitar, like when I'm comping songs, but then I'm imposing my like swing, funk and soul background on like the trumpet onto the songs, and Dermot is wonderful at jumping on any ideas I might have and then building on them and harmonizing on them. And it's real fun now in our recordings. We've got a neat little trombone, 𝓗𝓮𝓵 and trumpet stack because I've been alternating between the 𝓗𝓮𝓵 and the trumpet. I'm now leaning into 𝓗𝓮𝓵 live more because it's got a really lovely...
Much of that live, I don't think.
No, I don't
Actually,
see
I'm
a
not
lot
even
of
sure what a
𝓗𝓮𝓵.
𝓗𝓮𝓵 is, to be honest.
It's like a smaller version of a trumpet. So if a trumpet's about maybe say this long, 𝓗𝓮𝓵's a little bit sort of boxier and it's a bit more of a horn. Yeah, it's got a more round, warm, buttery sound, and it blends
like butter.
Yeah, it's smooth like butter. It blends really well with a trombone as well. So it's a bit less toppy than a trumpet, and I think for the contemporary music circuit and for the contexts that we're playing in live, it suits. Like I'll always be playing trumpet, but for this band, I think that I've found the right horn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finally.
I mean, our
Sorry, George, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that through all that stuff, our sound is definitely tightening over time. Like we've been thinking about how these new songs that we're coming out with are just like a bit more considered, but still down the same path of what we were heading towards, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
combination sound.
Speaking of sort of keeping things tight, and how have you found transitioning that sort of very live sound that it is as a group, and then taking that into recording and trying to capture that energy as well, which you've done so well. But how was the process of doing that and the thought behind it as well?
I guess a pretty crucial aspect of most of our songs has been live recorded takes, as in like whole band in the studio tracking a song with the drums, and you know we might then in actually we did go over most things in overdub, but it does come from playing live with the drums to get that like core feeling.
We're not always playing to a click either. Once we've got the it's quite. I think that adds to the psychedelic flavor. Is we're pretty on the pulse, but there can be a little bit of waviness, and we're
Definitely
not.
brings the live feel.
That sort of brings the live feel, and I'm so like it's not something that's really encouraged when you're doing recordings. There's this whole idea of everything having to be perfect and on the grid, and even with some vocal or trumpet takes, like little nuances and little imperfections is what gives it that live feeling. And
that push
it's about throwing down and getting a good energy take, you know?
Yeah.
Even if it might not always sound like necessarily like pretty or pristine. And I think that's how we bring the dirt in Fairtrade.
And I think a good part of it as well was the space that we were recording in. A kind of classic sound of the Fairtrade recordings at this point is big, large room mics and stuff to make that kit, you know, quite bright.
It's a beautiful kit as well.
Yeah.
Is it the same kit for every track?
Yes. Yeah. So the 70s Ludwig is Luca's kit.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
It sounds beautiful. I want to talk quickly now
everyone.
about your debut LP as well, which dropped last year. How did it feel having that first album out, pressing it on wax as well? A huge undertaking and a very exciting one too. And so many incredible tracks on there, 𝓗𝓗𝓻, Earthless too. How did that feel to have that labor of love sort of finally come to life?
It was great. I think the album launch was the highlight for me. We had a massive show at the Toff in town, and we really we don't have any like paid publicity in place. So the fact that we had the turnout that we did and the response from, you know, publications like Beat and that sort of thing, it was really lovely. And community radio support as well has been huge for us. Community radio is very near and dear to my heart, and it's been lovely to see all of these songs that feel like a diary or a scrapbook of our band life over that 12 to 18 month period in the lead up to releasing it. A lot of those songs feel like they were documenting our live shows and ideas that we'd explored in a live context, but wrapping it all up in this one little release. Unfortunately, we didn't press it to wax. We did get it on CDs though, and I've got about we've got 20 left. So we've moved a lot of them. We don't have many, so if you want one, you go to our Bandcamp.
And speaking of touring as well, Brooke, I mean, you've just been up here in Sydney too, a couple of weeks ago, which is very exciting. What was the mood like up here? Was it your first Sydney show as well?
It was.
Yeah, so exciting.
So good.
Really so fun. Good. It's super daunting sometimes. Like we're driving down, the five of us, and we're wondering, like, we've never played in Sydney. Have people even heard of us in Sydney? Are they gonna get it? Are they gonna show up? And we were traveling down, and we ended up packing out the place, which was incredible, and the venue was so cool. We played at Lazy Bones, and if you haven't been, it's like such a classic vibe. The staff, venue owner, all super kind to us, And we also had the pleasure of meeting some other community radio legends. Cam from 2SER came down.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to meet people who we've met over the internet or built like a radio label relationship with, and getting to actually have a drink together and watch the opening bands. Played with some terrific bands too. Dink, who are kind of a jazz fusion group.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'd know
on
them.
The show before. Incredible.
Yeah, you'd know them from around the circuit. And then a psychedelic rock trio, Liquid Squid, opened, and that was sensational. Both bands came recommended by other musicians that we respect, so we had it on good authority who we were getting on for that show. But loved Sydney, and we haven't stopped talking about it since, about how much we want to go back to Sydney and get out of Melbourne more. So if you're tuning in, we're taking suggestions. We'd love to know where you would like to see us play next in Sydney and who you'd like to see us playing with.
Well, very exciting, and I'm sure we can't wait to have you back very, very, very soon. And speaking of Sydney, getting to know you more as well, I'm very excited today. We have teased it a little bit, but I want to get into this right now. A premiere of a brand new single from Fairtrade Narcotics. I want to get into everything that makes a single what it is, and get into a bit more about your new releases that are coming very soon too. But I think I want to play the track for everyone first so we can really hear the new sound. Before I do, any sort of introduction to this track? It's called Hell for Leather.
So this song, Hell for Leather, it's a lot more of a disco pop feel than anything we've released before. And this song is really just, it's there to keep you moving through those times where you can't get up and everything feels impossible. It's a little reminder to just keep going.
Well, I can't wait to play it right now. The premiere of a new track from Fairtrade Narcotics here on Weekend Lunch. Let me know what you think on 0435 123 945.
This is an FBI radio premiere. Rain's coming down. I may be down, I'm not out yet. We can turn this shit around. I'll push the gas if you steer it. Strange comfort in the crowd. This night is just what I'm feeling. Safe swirling in the sounds. We've all been hiding in plain sight.
have it. Brand new music from Fairtrade Narcotics here on FBI Radio 94.5. That one's called Hell for Leather. And what a track it is. Brooke's vocals are soaring over that one. It's that disco sort of energy, very 2000s infused as well. Also in the visuals behind the releases too, and the last single, Pivot. 0435 123 945 is the place to drop us a line. Let us know what you think of that brand new track from Fairtrade Narcotics, dropping this week, I believe. And I'm still joined by wonderful Brooke and George right now from the band, live here on FBI. Congratulations on the single. It's such a track.
Thank you. I'm really glad that it's premiering on this program in particular. Yourself and FBI have been super supportive of our new music, so it's really lovely to have it on such an esteemed show.
Of course, such an honor to be able to premiere it. And I want to get into this track now and the whole aesthetic behind the release. I want to start, Brooke, with your vocals too. Very nostalgic tone to them, and they evoke so many feelings across the different tracks. There's a very distinct energy that you bring. And we mentioned this sort of noughties psych sound too. What was the lyrical process for you like for this track in particular, and finding that tone?
Interesting. That's a really good question. So this song and another subsequent single that'll be coming next are some of the first songs that I've composed on a piano, on a keyboard. Usually I'm coming to songwriting with a guitar, or sometimes it's even just with like lines of poetry and I can just hear the sound, and then I've got to find the chords and the sound that's going to wrap around that. But in this case, I was doing very much pop songwriting on a piano, and it was all very stream of consciousness. I remember I was at our old studio maybe late last year, and I was just having a moment where I was just really getting into it, and I was flowing, and Luca was having a cigarette out the front, and I said, Luca, I'm having a breakthrough, like I'm doing it. I said, I'm making a hit. And he goes, okay. And then he kind of walks outside, and then, a couple of weeks later we got to play on this, and he goes, okay. So this one's going to be a little more subdued then. And he's like, okay, I see what you were doing. But as far as vocals, it's hard to say. I think sometimes I'm not always in a state of constant inspiration, but once I'm there and I'm in a flow state, I feel like I was just kind of almost tapping into a lot of old music influences from maybe my teenage years, or even just being like, when we were all alive in like 2006 and those So Fresh CDs were still coming out, Yes. It was kind of like I tapped into that side of my brain a little bit, and not caring so much about what the lyrics were rather than the rhythm. Like I knew the rhythm and the pulse I was going
like
for.
All of your releases are so rhythm-based and pulse-driven, and that comes from such a strong bass groove, but also that crisp drum tone I was talking about earlier as well. Sorry to interrupt you, Brooke, but I just wanted to ask George as well. I mean, in terms of the production, and channeling sort of that nostalgic childhood sound as well for you, how did you go about that as a, sort of the main producer of the group?
It kind of came together through, like Brooke said, with the song on the piano and her voice. And then when I think me and Wilson joined Brooke for a jam on it initially, and I was on bass. Wilson was just like laying down some drums. And so we ended up with the bass line as like the third thing that got written. So with those three, they were kind of the core elements that slowly the rest of the band, as we played it, we all put down the extra lines. But this one in particular really came together in the recording phase where with those three elements, we actually really experimented with drums and percussion, and like my guitars are doing more of an atmospheric thing. I think the drums were the biggest area of creativity because we tracked everything kind of separate. Like we had 𝓗𝓻 do the kind of basic kick, snare, hats, groove, and then we would find loops of measures within his live takes and loop them to get the sort of wackiness, but still be in time with itself, you know.
Wow. Such a cool technique to use. Yeah, and definitely it comes through that sense of liveness, but still so tight and still like so on beat as well. I want to ask as well about plans going forward. So we've mentioned this as a single from an upcoming release. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's coming next after 𝓗𝓵𝓵?
We're making a pop album, or at least our version of pop music.
Huge.
This is as probably as pop as Fairtrade Narcotics gets. We will have some more singles in the pipeline, but the album is going to be called Recession Pop, and I think it's okay that we share that now.
So exciting.
I feel I've been really sitting with this idea of whenever there's an economic downturn and things are really hard in the world, people need to dance, and there's always, when things get really bad globally, by no means stick your head in the sand, but people need to cut loose in a healthy way, and there's always like a burst of upbeat pop music, and that's what I think that this album is. I didn't intend for it to be this way, but when we looked at this collection of songs that we had, it started to feel like there was a real common thread of like the album is essentially about persevering through burnout and still maintaining your resilience, and about cutting loose. And there's also no love songs on this album, which I think is, and the theme is almost more around community and platonic love.
Yeah, it's very much like, as musicians just trying to get by in this modern age, these songs feel good to play. They make it feel so good.
And the best response, I think, has been when we were, say, in our previous album era, the self-titled Fairtrade Narcotics record has a lot more rock and almost like borderline thrash moments. Like it's a lot thrashier guitars, and when we'd play live, we'd have people doing this, like nodding their head back and forth, or kind of standing and grooving like this. But now it shows we've got people going side to side and actually getting ethereal and dancing, and that for me is super rewarding. It feels good to make people move. And
it sounds
especially
so great live. I think it sounds so great recorded. I was gonna say I feel like it'd be a whole different experience to hear this one live and to really be able to sway with it and to get into it.
I would say we're more of a live band than a studio band, but I feel like we're finding our feet and getting a solid foot in each camp.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear the full album. And again, 𝓗𝓵𝓵 is dropping on Wednesday, I believe.
The 1st of May.
1st of May. So very, very, very soon. So that's Thursday, I think. So that's make sure pre-save. 𝓗𝓵𝓵, it's coming very, very soon. And you can listen to Pivot as well as all of Fairtrade Narcotics, their debut LP and previous singles too. Definitely recommend having a whole listen through the catalogue. It is incredible. Now, to finish off today, Brooke and George, I want to ask you, as people in the scene in Naarm, as listeners of music, as creators, as broadcasters too, who are some of your favourite people making music at the moment? And I want to get a recommendation for one track to finish us off today that you're loving at the moment.
It's kind of hard to narrow down the pool of talent in Melbourne in particular. There's so many people we admire. We were saying before that we love the band Big Yawn, but I think that my vote has to go to local indie group Dog Door. They're kind of doing the bedroom guitar rock pop sound. They're self-produced as well, so they've got a guitarist on their team, kind of similar to us, who handles all of their production, and everything that comes from that band is super clean. All of them are incredible songwriters in their own right, so it's a bit of a super group. So I'm gonna vote for the song, first track off the Put Me Right EP from the band Dog Door.
Well, let's listen to it right now. Thank you, Brooke. And I can't wait. I haven't heard much Dog Door before, but I'm very excited to hear a little bit right now. Brooke and George, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a privilege and such an honor to debut 𝓗𝓵𝓵. Again, It's out this Thursday, May 1st, so make sure you give it a listen. And stay tuned for the upcoming second album from Fairtrade Narcotics as well. So exciting. Again, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
This is Strange Old Feeling from Dog Door right now here on FBI. You're on Weekend Lunch. Stick around. More new music coming up right after this.
And something clicks behind